calculate the volt-amperes for shower window receptacles, you will need to follow a few steps. Firstly, determine the voltage. The standard voltage for commercial buildings is typically 277 volts. Secondly, calculate the amperage. Each show window receptacle is commonly rated at 15 amps. If there are 3 show window receptacles for each window, the total amperage per window is 15 amps multiplied by 3, which equals 45 amps. Thirdly, calculate the volt-amperes. Volt-amperes is calculated by multiplying voltage by amperage. Therefore, volt-amperes per window equals 277 volts multiplied by 45 amps, which equals 12,465 volt-amperes. Fourthly, multiply by the number of windows. If there are 5 windows, then the total volt-amperes for all show window receptacles would be 12,465 volt-amperes multiplied by 5, which equals 62,325 volt-amperes. For a panel board schedule, you would list the following information for the show window receptacles. The load description would be show window receptacles. The voltage would be 277 volts. The amperage would be 45 amps. The volt-amperes would be 12,465 volt-amperes per window. The total volt-amperes, if multiple windows exist, would be 62,325 volt-amperes based on the example with 5 windows. Here's an example. Suppose your strip mall building has 3 separate tenants, with each tenant having 5 show windows. To calculate the total volt-amperes for the show window receptacles for the entire building, you would add up the volt-amperes for each tenant. Tenant 1 would have 62,325 volt-amperes. Tenant 2 would have 62,325 volt-amperes. Tenant 3 would have 62,325 volt-amperes. The total volt-amperes for the building would be 186,975 volt-amperes. This total volt-amperes would then be used to determine the appropriate panel board size and breakers for the electrical system. Therefore, to recap, to determine the volt-amperes, one must calculate the voltage, the amperage, and then multiply the two. Then after that, the total volt-amperes calculation can be added into the panel board schedule.